Well, here we are again.
Hi. Hello.
I'm Jeff Harrison. And
I'm Leslie Spoor.
Well, she told me.
You told me we were going to do that.
I was going to. But anyway, we're here live with Leslie, and we call the show X's and O's, and we get to talk. I get to ask questions about helping you as a business owner through Leslie, how you can be more productive, more profitable, more successful for your business. So today we're going to talk about some fun stuff. What are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about how to grow your business faster, because one of the things, the first business I created was supporting itself in the first year, and that's pretty much unheard of. I get a lot of people calling me saying, I'm not making any money, I'm not getting any business, I've been doing this for a long time, and that shouldn't be that way. So I want to help you with that. But before I do that, I wanted to tell a story really quickly. I have a client, a consulting client in Florida. We'll call her Rachel, mostly because that's her real name. So we're going to call her Rachel.
It's easy to remember her then.
Yeah. And I've been helping her with, she had a huge opportunity, really big one. And she wrote a proposal and had me go through it to help her wordsmith it and how to respond to requests and stuff. And long story short, she actually had a meeting with them, and they accepted. They only asked for one change in the proposal, which is almost unheard of, because the opportunity she has is so big that typically has a very long sales cycle, and usually there's a lot of negotiation back and forth, and so for them to come and say it's good just with one minor change was phenomenal. But the part that I'm excited about, where I feel like a proud mom, is that I can sit here and help you, each of you, all day long, and I would do it,
Don't say for free.
No, I'm not going to say for free, but
I can feel that coming on.
I know. I would do it every day, all day, and never sleep. I love doing this so much. But it doesn't matter how much I talk to you or what I tell you to do if you don't do the work to make it happen. And that was the thing with Rachel. Not only did she do the homework about the company that she was going to meet when they had the in-person meeting, but she knew the right keywords to use for that client. She knew what their mission and vision was. She did all of her homework, and she was confident and on point, and that makes me excited, because she's very likely going to close this deal.
Cool.
Okay. And, yes, I helped her, and yes, I'm thrilled that I helped her, but more importantly, she helped herself. And that's the piece that gets me super excited. So, like I said, you can tell people how, you lead a horse to water, right? You can tell them how to do this stuff, but if you don't do the work, it doesn't happen. So I was really excited about that.
I think that's great. Congratulations.
I wanted to share that. Well, congratulations to Rachel, because it's awesome.
Well, that's really the power of, and kudos back to you, because sometimes you don't give yourself a credit for that, but sometimes all we need is that little support, whether it's morally, it's from a business standpoint, sometimes that little extra little confirmation, Leslie, that hey, you've got it, go do it. And I think we talked about it last week. We talked about compliance, and it's so true. Everything we need to know with whatever we ever want to know is available on the internet, right? So what's the difference of someone succeeding and not succeeding? Is what you just said, putting in the action.
Well, and creating an action plan to do it. She called me a couple of days before her on-site meeting in a panic. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. And I said, you've got this. And here's the key, and I'm going to tell you the same key I told her, that is to walk into the meeting and ask the potential client, how do you envision us working together? And then sit back and be quiet and let them tell you what their vision is for this relationship. That way, then, from there forward, you can tailor what you say to that vision. And she said that was the key for her. It really made a big difference. So I was really excited about it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
So let's talk about how you can grow your business faster and start making some money and have your business support itself.
Now, Leslie, I want to ask you something before you get started on that. When you say grow it faster, you just mean, like, you're not talking about saying, hey, open up one location in 10.
No.
Because that can be overwhelming, right? It can be like a tsunami hitting you. You're talking about make it profitable faster. Is that right?
I am.
Okay.
I am talking about that. Like I said, my other business, the first one I opened, was supporting itself in the first year. And there are some steps that you can take to help make that happen. Okay, and that's what I wanted to talk about today.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so one of those is, and it sounds kind of minor, but it is important, is that you are the face of your company.
Wait a minute. What do you mean you're face of the company?
Well, when you start out, most people are just that. It's just them doing a business. And even if you do retail, a lot of times you're the one that sits in the store all day. You're the one that does service. You're the one that orders everything and does all, wears all the hats, right? You know that you've got something called mini hats, or
yes, that's it.
something like that. So as a small business owner, we wear a lot of hats, and we're the face. We are the business in the beginning, and so it's important to remember that philosophy, so that no matter where you go, you're projecting the business, because you are the business in the beginning, especially before you have employees, before you have help. You are the business. So that means if you're going to go out shopping, you need to dress for business, even if you're just going to the grocery store or to pick up an errand for yourself. Your car should be clean and presentable. You should have business cards with you all the time, right? So you don't want to drink at business mixers, or if you do, very minorly, because everywhere you go, you're representing your company, and you want to present that image. I'll tell you a couple quick stories about that. One is I need to put gas in my car for the week, and so I ran out of the house to go do it, and I forgot I had my slippers on. And when I'm standing at the gas station in my slippers, and somebody came up to ask me about the business, because I have my car's wrapped. So I'm always the business, right? I have been for 11 years, and I'm standing there thinking, please don't look down, please don't look down the whole time, right? So even that, because it affects your confidence, it affects your credibility. The other story is I was sitting at a coffee shop, and a car pulled up, and it was loudly wrapped. I mean, it had some big promotional stuff all over it. And I'm a fan of that, by the way, so that's good. And when the person got out of the car, they did not represent the company, not in any way, shape, or form, so much so 180 degrees opposite of what they were promoting, that I thought, oh my gosh, that's horrible. Because they could never sell what they're promoting if you don't reflect the brand.
Yeah.
Right?
Because would you say that's your opportunity to do a first impression without even really knowing? It's almost like that, we can do so much voyeurism and checking people out on the internet before they even know that we've seen. But now, all of a sudden, let's say I saw your vehicle, and I'm thinking, wow, that could be handy because of XYZ, and I see you get out and you're not appropriately dressed, like, you're disheveled. It never happened, but you're disheveled, and you've got your slippers on or whatever, and I'm thinking, wow, okay, that didn't work out, because she's not. There's inequality there.
Right, right, and it's another thing too, is like if you smoke, which I used to smoke, and smokers don't think they smell like cigarettes, but they do. Okay, and if you go in to meet with a client or walk by somebody and you're promoting your business and smell of cigarettes or excessive perfume or alcohol, it's all off-putting, and you won't even know what business you've lost because nobody's going to say anything.
That's right.
So keep all that kind of stuff in mind. Okay, it's not the most important thing, but it is one of the factors to helping get your business off the ground a little quicker.
So you're saying, basically 24/7, you're the face of the business, and you need to be on.
24/7.
So Speedos are out.
Well, if you have the body for it, it's okay. Or if you're male, it's okay.
Yeah.
But if you're female, not so much. If the only way I tell you to get around that is that if you're using magnets instead of wrap on your car, at least take your magnets off if you're going to run out and not be presentable. But all the time you should really be presentable, because you are the face of your business all the time.
Okay.
Second thing is you need to fake it till you make it. And
can I back you up for just a second? I just think about that with this particular one. You're the face of your company. Is that even more important today with the fact that I could be over here and I could take a picture of you and say, hey, I saw you getting gas and those are really cute slippers. And now not only did I see it, everybody saw it.
Yeah, that is really true. It wasn't like that 11 years ago, but it is true now.
It just made me think about it. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm like, wow, so it's even more important.
Yeah, the internet has made everything overly politically correct and extremely dangerous from the perspective of if you say the wrong thing, if you post the wrong thing. I could do a whole hour on how to manage your Facebook pages if you own a business, because I have 5 pages that I manage, and my personal page is even treated as one of my business, because my clients don't stop at my company Facebook page. They look at my personal one and everything. So you really have to be careful. There is no off time ever. Okay. The second one is about faking it till you make it. And as you know, did you start in 2006 also, your company?
I started a company in 2006.
Yeah, and so did I. I started one in 2006, and which is right before the economic downturn. And so when I would go to mixers and things like that, everybody was crying about how bad business was, and they'd say, "How's business?" And I would always say, "It's fantastic." And I really did. I would say, "It's so good. We're getting so many clients. I'm going to probably have to start hiring people." And I'd say all this stuff. None of it was true at the time. None of it was true. But I had to do that to put that energy out into the universe that said, I believe that this business is going to succeed. And what I would get back from the people at the mixers, wow, that's incredible. You're the only one I talk to that says that. But you know what? My business grew 30% per year for 5 years straight in a row.
Wow. Even during the worst times?
Even during the worst times. Once the economy, in 2008 to 10, it still grew 30% per year, more than 30%. So, saying what you say comes true. And I don't want to sound like hocus pocus, but if you put out what you want and you see it and you feel it and you believe it, it comes true. Sure. Right? You know that.
You bet. I mean, let's face it. If I were one of your ideal clients and I interviewed you, who said it's fantastic, and another one that said, well, we're just barely getting by, who am I going to invest with?
Right.
I'm gonna invest. I'm gonna let you take care of my home or whatever it is with you, because you're perceived as you have the energy and you're rocking and rolling. So I think that's a good one, because that's something my mom used to say all the time, but I didn't really know that, so I just faked like I was in bed at 10 o'clock. No, I'm just kidding. Mom, I didn't really do that.
It's true though. What you put out comes back. When I was trying to figure out what kind of business to make, because I wanted to get out of consulting at that time. I was on the road all the time, and so I wanted to start a business. And it wasn't until I came up with Executive Aaron's name, right? That's my other company, Executive Aaron's, that I saw it instantly successful. Instantly, I knew that the name told me it was the right business for me. And it has not stopped growing since. Great. I know, it's amazing.
11 years later.
11 years later, still going strong. We just signed up a half a dozen more clients just in the last couple of weeks. So,
cool.
It's amazing what you can do if you believe it and you can see it, right? And that takes me to the third point. And the third point is to visualize where you want your business to be in 5 and 10 years from now. And it's really important that you do that before you even get one client or one customer or launch one product. You need to know where you want to be so you know how to market and promote yourself, right? All the decisions you make should play into where you want to be eventually, right? All the tasks you do, all the work you delegate, all the processes you put into place, all should feed into that vision for 5 years from now or 10 years from now. And as a case in point, I work with a lot of people who do service-based businesses, so it's just themselves in the beginning, and they're afraid to charge too much for their services. Okay. Now we could talk about how that ties into your self-worth and all kinds of other factors about why people have difficulty charging fair market for their services. But the important thing is to understand is that if you look out 5 years from now and you intend to have employees, you must charge a rate that allows you to pay people eventually and still be profitable. Right. That's not to say you can't raise your rates later, but customers are really hard to retrain. Right? So when you start with somebody, you want to be where you think you want to be in 3 to 5 to 10 years, so that you can set up your foundation of your company to support that.
Because with that, it makes me think, well, if I went in at undercharge just to get business, because I'm saying, hey, I'm only taking care of myself, right? And then you are in a situation you have to hire somebody, but you've already established that baseline. I can almost imagine now I'm paying my employees more than I'm paying myself,
Right.
and there's almost like that little, like you regret what you've done.
Well, yeah, you'll build up resentment
Yeah.
for sure. I've got one person I work with through the consulting and Concierge Business Solutions where she pays a good wage for her employees, but she hasn't adjusted her rate to her clients. And so her margins are very small. And she's at the point now where she's starting to resent it because she's having to, for her, it's a numbers game. She has to do so much volume to make the income that she wants to make that it's stressing her out.
Wow.
Right? So if she, and I'll tell you a real quick story about that. Years ago, like a whole nother lifetime ago, I was going to a manicurist, and she was telling me at that time that she was barely making enough money to pay her bills. Okay, and so I asked her, "How many clients do you have?" And she told me what the number was, and I said, "Well, why don't you raise your rates $5, just $5, and times the number of clients she had." Tripled the amount of income she was making so that she not only could pay her bills but then actually had a life. And it was just $5.
Yeah.
You know, and she said, and I asked her how it went some months later, and she said, you know, I lost some of my young clients, but I got in more stable ones who, you know, are loyal and keep coming back. So it worked out. So just, you know, even just that little bit can make a huge difference in what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
But you have to know where you want to take the business. If you're just trying to make a job for yourself, if you don't want, you know, some people just want to be a one bucket shop forever.
Yeah, yeah.
I use that term because my boyfriend is a tile guy, and he uses that term all the time. So one bucket shop, right? If you want to stay a one bucket shop forever and just really, you're just creating a job for yourself that you can work your own hours and you don't want to answer to anybody and you just want to do everything yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. But you need to know that up front.
Yeah.
You know, if you're trying to build a company, there's a difference between making a job for yourself and building a company. And if you want to make a company, there are steps that you need to take, and we'll talk about those in coming weeks, to be able to do that. But one of those, and the primary one, is to visualize where you want to be. And that plays into what we were talking about before about faking it till you make it.
Yeah.
If you can see yourself being successful, you will be successful, or you should be, if you take the steps to make sure that happens.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody talks about laws of attraction.
Right.
And they think it's magic, and it is magic. It works like magic, but you still have to do the work. Nothing comes without the work.
Got to move your feet.
Got to move your feet.
Yeah.
Right?
Good. I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Visualize where you are in 5 to 10 years.
Makes a huge difference for you. And then finally, and I don't know where we're at on time, but finally I want to talk about, we talk about this quite often, but it's because it is so critical to what you're doing, and that is to identify your ideal client. Okay. And if you think about how this all ties together, you have to know where you're going with your company and what you want to do. And part of that then will feed, where you want to be is going to feed into what kind of clients do you need to get there, right?
Right.
So if you're going to market to fixed income homes, that's one demographic. If you're going to market to baby boomers, that's another one. If you're going to market to millennials, that's another kind of market, right? So you have to know where you're going to take your business, and then what product or service are you selling, and then who can best utilize that so that you can identify your ideal client so that you can make effective use of the budget you have for marketing and advertising. Right?
Makes sense. When you talk about ideal client, and I don't want to get too far from that because you had another program totally covering that, but when you're talking about that, when it comes to marketing and advertising, knowing you're on the target market, how important does that play a role? If you're, instead of, let's say, would you structure your advertising different from a millennial conversation versus a baby boomer?
Possibly.
And would you put it in a different location?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You absolutely would, because you have to put your advertising money where those people frequent. Like we did talk about this, that Facebook or Instagram, right, or Snapchat or whatever,
Right.
Or YouTube or LinkedIn. LinkedIn is professionals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instagram is more millennials. Facebook is more 40s to
Baby boomers.
70, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got to know where your client is to know where to market. And there is most of us have limited income for advertising and marketing, so we want to make the most effective, get the biggest bang for our buck, right?
Right.
Most effective use of the dollars that we have. And, excuse me, the small business owner suffers the most in this area because most advertising is like print or billboard or online, magazine is very expensive. It's designed for the people that have big budgets, right? Because they're trying to get their ideal client is somebody that has a big advertising budget. Now, some of our magazines here, the one that I like the best, which the big magazine, is $6,000 for a one-page print ad.
Ouch.
I can't.
One run.
I don't want, for one run. And then they want you to make a commitment for a certain amount of time. I am not willing for my business. I don't think the returns are there for my business to do that. Now, they've been kind enough to write about my company, I think 3 or 4 times over the years, and then that gets me in that magazine, and that's great, and I appreciate it very much, but I don't want to put a $5,000 print ad out somewhere because I don't think you always have to look at what's your trade-off. How many clients do you need to get, or how many customers do you need to bring in order to offset the cost of this promotion?
Yeah. Right?
That's your ROI. That's your return on investment. So if you do a billboard ad and it takes you over the course of a year, I need 2 clients for a year to pay for a billboard ad. At least what the rates used to be. I don't know what they are today, but what they used to be. If I get those 2 clients, it paid for itself.
Okay. So it doesn't seem like that's a huge stretch.
It's not.
But how do you know, Leslie, for sure you're actually getting a client from that billboard?
Well, I always ask.
Okay.
How did you hear about us?
Right.
And really, most of the people who call me today did a search on Google or whatever search engine they use.
Yeah.
We come up right at the top, but that part of that is because we do a lot of content that goes on the internet.
Yeah.
I do pay for AdWords and stuff, but really I think our position comes from the amount of content that we put out there.
Google loves content.
They do. Everybody, they do.
It's the cheapest way to do it because it's free. If you're constantly updating your website and you're constantly putting, articles like you're talking about and that you do they solve the problems.
These videos and the webinars and YouTube channel and the articles we get in the newspaper and stuff, all of that stuff ends up online.
Yeah.
So if you do a search for me, you'll find a lot of content. Okay, and people do. I just signed up a client who the guy is the husband is how can I say this politely? He's at near stalker level for research.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when I walked in to meet him the first time, he already knew everything about me. I think he knew my kids' names, no, I don't, not really. But he does his homework, and people should. They should do their due diligence because it's all there now.
Yeah.
I remember the days where you never want to give your Social Security number to anybody because you need to protect that. But all the Social Security Administration, everything is online.
Yeah.
Everything is out there.
Well, and this is just a little tidbit. When you say things like that, it just brings up this data in my head. It's that 40% of people that are making a buying decision online would prefer never to have to make physical contact with anyone.
I know.
So that means they're doing all their research. So if you imagine you have a website and you don't have any content on there, it's just purely, hey, this is all about me, here's my products and services, but there's no real content of why I should buy from you. You're way behind the 8 ball versus Leslie, who is constantly, how many times a week do you put new content on your website?
A couple of times. Well, not so much on the website itself, although I have videos on the site, and on the Concierge Business Solutions site, I do post these videos in there on my blog. I have a blog.
So at least once a week.
So at least once a week or so. But the content on Facebook is constantly updating, right? It's constantly. And so I think that, and then we move that content to YouTube, and we hand out these white papers to you guys, and I do a newsletter once a week. One week it's Executive Variance, 1 week it's Concierge Business Solutions. So one is, they have different kinds of content, but they're relevant to all of my subscribers. So if you really want to get even more in depth, like this information I'm giving you today is going to turn into a newsletter topic with more detail. So if you want additional detail, you should sign up for our newsletter.
How would they do that?
Well, you can contact me through Concierge Business Solutions which Amy's going to have on the screen shortly. Is it already there? It's info at conciergebusinesssolutions.com, or you can call me at 760-898-9604 and we'll sign you up for the newsletter. And that way you can get more detail even than what we're giving here. I give a lot of content away, so you should really take advantage of that, because if you hire me personally, I get a fair wage for that. And everybody who hires me tells me it's really worth the cost.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
I was
they
going to
get
say
so much.
under price, I'm going to say I'm going to treat you like the nail gal. I said, why don't you increase your prices?
No, I charge a fair rate because I give so much when we do the work.
Yeah.
And then some will say to me, oh, I need, I wish I had a document for this, and I'll say I have one here, and just give it. I give a lot away, so the consulting fees are fair for what you get.
Yeah. That's great. Anything else on today's topic? I mean, you talked about what, fake it till you make it. You're the face of your company.
Ideal
Visualization
and
ideal client.
Right. And so the key here is to set attainable goals and objectives, things that you can measure, and when you go to do a task, any task that you're going to do for the day, you have to think consciously, does this task further my goal to where I want to be with this company? If it doesn't, either don't do it or delegate it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, when you said that, I mean, we were talking about these. My next question before you said that was, if somebody's listening, they're going to say, hey, these are all great ideas, but how in the heck does it actually make me more profitable faster? And I think you just nailed it right there. It becomes this almost like this true north. Hey, am I really on target, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
If you don't know where you're going, how are you going to plan to get there, right? You have to know where you're going. And then we can sit down. I can help you do this. We can sit down and do an action plan that helps you get there. And if you're overwhelmed, if you're in a state of overwhelm because you have so many tasks to do, I can help you cull through those tasks and say, okay, these you do not need to be doing at all, or they can be done later. This is the stuff that will get your business going where you need it to go, because it's very easy to get caught up in busy work, and we don't want you to do that. We want you to be doing value-added tasks that help you achieve your goals.
That's great. That's great.
Okay.
Anything else today?
That's it today.
So if you want this, if you're interested in this, you say, hey, I like that, but I didn't take it in the notes. You're driving down the road and you're only listening to her on your phone, but you'd like this. There's a white paper that is below the video, and you can certainly just click there and download it. It's no charge, and it'll kind of recap again everything that Leslie talked about today.
It does, and then this will turn into a newsletter with even more detail in it. So I really strongly recommend that you sign up for the newsletter.
I have to ask Leslie. Let me just take a look at this. If I'm gonna ask her. So at the end of these white papers, does it give a call to action to get a hold of you?
It does. It does, and it talks about the DVD that we offer. Also, I have a 6 DVD collection of the basics to set up a foundation for your business that has a bunch, 6 DVDs, so that tells you there's 6 classes on that thing about everything from this type of thing to how to set your pricing questions to some general finance information for small business owners to customer service and marketing and networking and all kinds of topics that will give you a really good foundation. So that's at the end.
Okay.
And then my contact info is also at the end.
Beautiful. So if you like what you're hearing and you'd like to go a little deeper, take advantage of it, use those links on here, and
share us with other people.
Yeah, and share her with other people.
That's right.
So, hey, thank you for joining us. I'm Jeff Harrison.
I'm Leslie Spoor.
And we call this X's and O's. And it's
The Game of Small Business.
Oh, the Game of Small Business, live with Leslie. So we'll see you next week on at 3 o'clock. Yep, 3 o'clock.
Pacific.
Thank you.
Bye.